Hello and welcome. My name is Jennifer Avila Gonzalez. I currently teach at St. Joseph Catholic School in Santa Ana. We are part of the Diocese of Orange in California. I am currently enrolled in the Master's in School Administration program with Loyola Marymount University. Welcome to What Biases Do You Bring to the Table? An in-depth analysis of privilege. We will examine our students and community as individuals. We will take a self-reflection of our biases and stereotypes that we may bring. We will look at our individual privilege, as well as how we can build stronger students, communities, and schools. Looking at students as individuals. As educators, we want to help our students reach their full potential using their individual gifts. We have all seen students who may be athletically talented, artistically talented, or musically talented. We see students in all capacities, and we need to acknowledge that them being unique is a true gift, as well as helping them rise to any academic challenge they may have. We need to change and challenge the levels of academics that our schools currently have. We need to not lower standards for our students who may be struggling at any point academically, but we need to raise the bar that they see for themselves. Raising the bar now may bring some students or educators who feel that what if a student fails? What if they fall short of this new challenge? There is a lesson learned in students not reaching the goal that we set for them. They may not reach it at that moment, but knowing where and in what areas they struggle in, that's how we can allow them to continue to grow. And that's where we can help them reach these bars that we are raising continuously for them. Them seeing that they may not have reached that goal quite yet is not a failure, but it is a lesson for them and for us. We need to strengthen our education within the community. We need to strengthen the academics within our schools so that we can allow them to grow and so that they can also see that they are capable of reaching any goal. With time and guidance, they will get there. Not all students can be excellent test takers, and that then converts to them perhaps scoring lower than they should have on our standardized testing. We need to see our students as individuals. Yes, we do need to meet standards, grade level for subjects. We also need to ensure that they can take a standardized test. But that's not all that should define them. We should give them the ability to show us their true gifts, to show us what they can do academically outside of meeting standards and outside of standardized testing. Some students may be amazing dialogue portrayers and may be giving us an amazing essay that they wrote. Yet when they came to the standardized test, they may have gotten nervous. Maybe they have a lot of self-doubt. That's something that we can address to the individual student so that we can help them thrive and succeed instead of seeing scores as failures. We can help them see that it is an area of growth, that they need to continue practicing it. In this self-reflection, I think it is a time where we can open ourselves to be very vulnerable and very sincere with this topic. We need to examine our biases and stereotypes that we bring. Specifically, one example can be school supplies. We at times think that, oh, it's just a pencil, it's just a notebook. These are things that are required of my students. Why don't they have them on a daily basis? I've worked with educators in the past that have gotten upset because their student doesn't have a pencil or they don't have the right materials that we require them on our school list that we send out. And I sent the list out months ago in the summer. Why are we 2 months in the school and the student still does not have them? Sometimes we see a stereotype of a certain community. Maybe we believe that they don't have the school supplies because education isn't important to them, when the reality in many cases is that school supplies may fall at the very bottom of the shopping list. And ensuring that there is enough food in the house, ensuring that bills are paid, ensuring that a student is wearing the right uniform is much more important and a priority than having a school pencil or having the right notebook for class. We need to step away from our stereotype of certain communities and our bias of certain students in order to see that they truly do want to be at school. They truly do want to learn. And sometimes just giving them the pencil that they need is an uplifting gesture for them. Sometimes we see relationships of our students and we want to portray that into their performance. Many times we as educators do favor some students and we get to know some students a lot more. In reality, the goal is that we learn about every student that we have. Yes, we will build relationships with students that we may learn more about them, or we may know them longer, or their parents are very involved in the school. But we also need to take the time to get to know our students whose parents are working 2 jobs, who are working night shifts so that they can come to a Catholic school. We need to build stronger relationships so that we're able to see our students for who they are. If we as educators know our students, we know what they're capable of, we know what they're passionate for, then that relationship will bring trust and we will be able to see them grow in all aspects of their education and their faith. Now, in this portion of our session, I would like us to take a look at privilege. Now, many times people will hear the word privilege and they will think of skin color, or they will think of someone's economic standing. But I would like us to look at privilege in the form of education. Now, we feel many times that education is a must and a necessity in life. And yes, it is. We want our youth and our future to be very well educated so our communities can continue to thrive and develop. But when we look at the core of Catholic education, many times it is a financial burden. It is a struggle. It is a parent having to have an extra part-time job. Maybe a parent has to work on the weekends. And sometimes we see this privilege as a given when not necessarily. Many times I will reflect on my own privilege that I am working at a Catholic school, that I'm able to continue my education, that I am continuing my graduate level education at LMU. That is a privilege in itself. The privilege that I have to being here and presenting at this conference. That is not something that is just assumed or given. And I feel that if we can truly look at ourselves and see our privileges, then maybe we can start to understand where our privileges take us and how it is we teach what we teach, the way that we teach it. If I assume that my students must be present and must be ready to learn at 8:30 a.m., that's a privilege on my behalf that is affecting my teaching. I need to examine my students. I need to see where they are and how they look walking into the school, walking into my class. If a student is worried about their family's financial situation, if their student is tired because they had to watch their siblings while their parent was out at their second job, and they had to help them with their homework and didn't get to complete the assignments that they have to turn in. That is all part of the idea that education is their job. So why are they not ready? There are so many factors that we need to examine. And the very first one is addressing our individual privilege as educators. It is a privilege to be a teacher because in many cases, it is very difficult to finish the career path or finish the education behind it and then being able to find a career and find a school in which you feel like you can grow professionally. And once we see our privileges, we can then examine how we can better serve our students. Looking at privilege and education, one thing that is intertwined is our students' racial identity. Looking at students and their backgrounds may at times help us get to know them a lot better. There is an amazing article by C.M. Steele called Whistling Vivaldi. And it is a student, a college student, who would whistle classical music walking down the street so that people would not see him as a threatening man of color. And if they recognized or just knew the tune, knew that it was a classical music tune, they would feel safer in his presence. Working with low-income students in Orange County, many times educators may feel that or assume that education is not a priority, or certain communities do not value education, when it is difficult for individuals to value something that comes at a price. And we need to examine our privilege looking at our students. Many times when we work in diverse communities, we do not necessarily know the customs of our students and their traditions, but that is an aspect of being able to know the uniqueness of our students. If we can help them feel empowered, if we can help them feel strength in who they are, then they will succeed academically. Knowing our students and allowing them to grow and being who they are meant to be and using the gifts and the grace that God has given them, we can truly build stronger relationships with our students, our schools, and our communities. We want to empower our students that they know that as an individual, they are worth so much more than what they assume or maybe what they have been felt to be worth. If we can build up our students, our schools will grow and continue to thrive. And with amazing schools and with schools that produce strong, independent, and high achieving students, then each community will thrive. And then ensuring that our youth is creating a new world where we don't necessarily look at students or look at communities or look at each other in certain ways because of the stereotypes and biases that we bring. We need to examine what we do as educators. Looking at ourselves first is the key so that we may then grow and allow our students to grow. And thank you again for joining me in this session.